Hey, Steve. What's up, man?
Oh,
How are you, Nick?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks. How you doing?
I am fine, sitting in my kitchen where I cover all my sports. Um, this is 3 years now, or starting the third year. First year, you have a championship team. Last year, you have a very good team. What do you have right now, and what are you expecting from this team?
Well, I think, Steve, this is what we wonder about and why we line up to play them. I'm thinking we were probably in a similar-ish situation last year. I don't think anybody thought super highly of our team going into last year. Um, what I do know is we compete very hard, and we got a really good core group of guys that's won a lot of games, and they know how to win. My job is to piece in some guys around those guys, and find the right guys to be on the floor the majority of the minutes with those guys. So there's some again. I say there's a lot of specialists inside some of these guys, and they certainly show that a lot of times. So I'm excited to see the ball go up for real and watch us bring out our real competitive edge that we seem to play with, and see where we are.
Will this team require more work from you and your staff than the other teams, or is it the
Um,
same?
well, I would say there's certainly a lot of work being put into it right now, Steve. I think that last year we learned pretty quickly in training camp, when we had about 8 or 9 new faces, that those 8 or 9 new faces didn't have really any idea of who we were, what our identity was, how we played, what our defensive schemes were, et cetera. So, we immediately kind of started having, I don't call them two-a-days, but they were kind of like two-a-days for the new people, just to try to get them up to speed. So we've been doing the same thing this year with all the new faces and young guys and such. Again, we're just trying to take advantage of the practice time and accelerate their growth, so that when we do need them, they're ready to go out there and at least execute on one side of the ball.
Are you living across the street from the rink?
I am, yeah.
Nice place.
It is.
Enjoy.
It is. It is. Thanks. Thanks.
thanks, Steve. We'll go to Doug Smith next.
Good morning, Nick. How you doing today?
Hey, Doug. I'm good. I'm good.
So I know that you have your defensive principles, and they take a lot of teaching to new guys. How about the offensive principles? Because you do not have those ball handlers, facilitators, shooters in the front court that you did with Mark and Serge. How much different is that going to look, being more wing and guard oriented, I presume?
Yeah, I mean, I think Doug, I think Serge and Mark were pretty much at the opposite end of the spectrum, right? I mean, Mark was a guy that once you got it to him, and we got it to him early in the offense, we were looking to see what he was going to do with it, or who he was going to deliver it to next, right? And I think Serge was out there setting screens and going into space, and was primarily pulling the trigger, a lot, in his 17, 18 footer, along with his 3-point range. He did that stuff at a super high level. So again, they kind of used their skills appropriately. Um, from what I've seen so far, uh, Len's a little bit more of a roller like Boucher. He's going to roll. Chris is going to roll dynamically. Len's going to roll a little bit more and be at the end of pick and rolls at the basket. Baines is a really good screener. I think our guards will get shots more. I think, again, they're like talking about all 5 of those bigs, including Serge and Mark. They're all different in their own way, and we just gotta use their strengths to the best of our ability as a team, and how it looks, and go from there.
I guess obviously the news yesterday that OG is going to bounce. Good for him to get paid. I'm very happy for him that way. How do you see his role and responsibilities increasing, regardless of the contract? How is it going to increase anyway?
Well, I think Doug is that he hopefully understands he can become one of the league's elite defenders, right? That's where, when OG steps on the floor and whatever part of the game you like, but you're gonna say, now you want to see somebody play defense. Let's watch this guy. And let's watch what this guy does with this matchup tonight on this end of the floor. And I think there's for me, part of the game. I love that part of the game. Some certain, it's old school. It's like a good old fashioned pitcher's duel in baseball or whatever. But I love that part of that there's a guy that can kind of come in there and that's what he is, right? And then the rest of it, again, I just think continues to develop. He certainly shoots the ball well. His other skill work, what is he going to do in transition? What's he going to do on the block? What's he going to do starting and ending drives? What kind of passer is he going to become? All those things I think are accelerating. I would say at probably a faster rate maybe than expected, right? He's certainly more than just a play defense and stand in the corner guy. He's becoming a more active member of the offense because of his skills are improving.
Great. Thanks very much. Enjoy the rest of the day, and good luck tomorrow night. Enjoy the game.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, Doug. We'll go to Josh Lewinberg next.
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Doing great, Josh. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. What's it been like watching the trio of Pascal, Fred, and OG sort of grow? I mean, obviously individually as players, but together as the foundation of this team's future now that you've got all three of them under contract long term?
Well, I think it's really been fun and interesting to watch them all grow. I think it's a real credit, first of all, to them individually and to our organization, our coaching staff, player development, all that stuff that I think we've been able to grow these guys to this point. And I don't think any of them were real surefire, high draft picks or whatever. They're Freddie's undrafted and 2 late first round picks, I guess, and they go out there and they compete with the best, right? And I think that's where we're heading. Can these guys, what can they do against the nights when the superstars are coming in? Can they guard them? Can they score on them? Can they compete and beat them? Right? That's the main thing. Doesn't necessarily maybe OG doesn't have to win his matchup head to head or Pascal win his head to head, but can the 3 of them, along with Kyle and whoever else is kind of in with the group of 4. I mean, the 4-pillar foundation is kind of what we're at right now, and Norm would be another guy that's been around for a while. Can they collectively find ways to win? And I think that's really that we're all concerned about right now.
Switching gears a little bit, you mentioned Aaron's screening earlier, and he talked to us about that yesterday. I'll ask you the same thing I asked Sergio yesterday. How important is it to have guys like that sort of specialize in something that's maybe a little bit unsung or at least doesn't show up on the general box score? And who are some of the best screeners that you've coached over your coaching career?
Well, first of all, it's very important, especially when you got a couple guards that can come off a screen and roll and shoot, right? And you got a couple of wing players that can come off of wide pin downs or those kind of things too. When you got a big wide body that's willing to make contact with people and puts a lot of pressure on the defense, right? And well, he's the best screener I've probably coached is Kyle Lowry. I know he's a little guy and don't normally associate that, but probably remember back in the day when Stockton was cutting across the lane and screening from alone. There are some little guys that can really lay some screens on people, and Kyle is about as good as I've seen.
Great. Thanks, Nick.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Josh. We'll go to Steven from Sportsnet.
Hey, Nick. Good afternoon.
Hi, Steven.
Similar to what Josh was saying before about OG, Pascal, and Fred. I just wanted to know how have you seen them, I guess, mature as leaders on the Raptors, over the years of them coming up?
Well, I think that I think Fred is certainly a leader of the team. He's kind of a natural leader anyway. And now so departures of Serge and Mark. I think he even takes a bigger role. I really see him vocalizing and stepping forward day to day here, right? He's really become one of the team leaders right behind Kyle. And as far as like Pascal and OG, I think this is the opportunity for them to grow into this a little bit. I think, Pascal's doing so. Again, maybe his status in the locker room or status as a role on the team helps that. And OG's coming along. He still seems like the young one of the group. OG, you're not quite into that leadership role yet, probably because he is, right? But I think that the chemistry between them has developed nicely. I think OG's really become a good fit. I think the other guys, they're always looking at these guys a little sideways until you prove themselves. And I think they look at OG pretty straight on now because of his defensive prowess and what he brings to the team.
And different question, but there's obviously been a very short preseason, very short training camp. I know normally coming into like a season, most people will say like the preseason has been a little too long. You just want to get going. Do you still have that same feeling now with starting to?
I was just gonna say to you, man, it hasn't felt short. It hasn't felt short. We're ready to go, man. We've had a lot of practices. It seems like, and good thing, we've really put in some long days and long practices. We need them, and but we're ready to play a game for sure.
Great, thanks so much, Nick.
Yep, Stephen. Have a good day.
Thanks, Stephen. We'll go to Kenny Morales from Spectrum News in the Bay.
Hey, Nick, how's it going?
Good.
Hey, a quick question for you, non-basketball related. Not sure if you saw, but Steven Stamkos of the Tampa Bay Lightning, said he was going to donate $5,000 to a local ministry here to help raise some toys for kids in the area. He reached out to Kyle Lowry, and Kyle replied saying that he was going to go ahead and join in. I just wanted to get your thoughts on what it means to you to see one of your players not only give back, I know he has in the past, but to give back to an area that is fairly new to him.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Kyle's always been I think, really good in this area on several fronts, and one of the things that I like to emphasize to the guys is making sure they're giving back in their own communities where they came from, because they are such role models and have such a big platform, heroes to those kids there. And I think it's crucial. And Kyle's certainly done that over the years. He's been really good in Toronto as well, which is his second home. He's going on a lot of years there in Toronto, somewhere between 8 and 9 years there now. But I think it's nice. I think it's nice that a couple guys with Toronto ties down here in Tampa are again using their platforms and sharing with the local community that is now supporting us. So that's good.
Awesome. Appreciate the time.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Kenny. We'll go to Akiko from Kyoto News in Japan.
Hi, Coach. How are you?
Good,
Hi.
Akiko. How are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you. Yeah, I'd like to ask you about Yoda. And when did you think you want to keep him in your system? And what part of his game do you want him to work on from now on?
Yeah, I mean, well, he's just. When did I think I wanted to keep him? I think, we brought him to camp, and from the early stages, he showed kind of what he could do. And what he can do is he's a really good all-around player. Plays hard, runs the floor, brings the ball up, passes, defends, shoots a bit, really play makes, intelligent, and he just did it every day. It was one of those it was one of those things where, this is a tryout camp. Training camp is an opportunity for people to come and make the team, and he played every single day like there was no way that he didn't deserve to make it. Every day, he like never had a bad day. So, and that's good. I think again we need some all around players. I like getting those kind of guys on the floor. And he should be a good, at some point he's going to get a chance this year. I'm not saying it's going to be tomorrow night, but at some point he'll get a chance, and I think his overall versatility will put him in a good position to succeed.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Next, we have Yoko from Sports Graphic in Japan.
Hello, Coach. How are you?
Hi, Yoko. I'm good.
Another Utah question. Sorry.
It's okay.
How much do you foresee him spending with G League? G League team?
Yeah. A little early to tell yet, Yoko. I think that I think there's such tight competition from the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, keep going, pick positions for us, that I'm just not quite sure how it'll play out here early. But in saying that, I'm a huge believer in developing players through the G League. So I would imagine that not only him, but our 2 other draft picks, any of our younger guys that aren't consistently seeing the floor, the only way they can get better is by getting on the floor. And if that's the only opportunity for that's in the G League, then we always take advantage of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Yoko. We'll go back to Steve Simmons.
Got to push the right button. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Steve.
Have you heard anything from the NBA regarding Terrence, and do you expect to have him in your lineup tomorrow night?
I haven't, Steve. I think he'll be in the lineup tomorrow night. I know that's imminent, but I have not heard anything one way or the other. Obviously, until we do, we kind of go on day to day.
Do you have any personal feelings about playing him?
No, not really.